Okay guys, today we're tying up a little VMC Ned jig. You get 4 of these in a pack right here, and I get about $5.49 for 4 of them. And I absolutely love these little jig heads right here. They're kind of big, wide, flat peel type jig heads, and when they hit the bottom, they lay flat on that bottom. Great for crawfish, great for creature type lures as well when you're working that bottom. These are awesome little jigs. Now this soft plastic keeper right back here, I'm just going to leave this on in this tie. So we're going to start out with some Black A by Do It, and we're going to run our thread all the way down to the bend of the hook, and then with that caper there, I'm just going to run right back up, give it a nice couple turns through that caper there, and then right back down about halfway between the bend and the keeper. Okay, first thing up, we've got some small grizzly feathers right here that we're going to be adding in the V right back here on the tail section. So I'm going to lay this first one over right on top of the shank. Give him a couple nice tight wraps right there. And then I'm going to lift him up and run behind him. If he will cooperate with me. There we go. And then I'm going to do about 3 wraps behind him, pulling him out to the side to keep them split apart. And then a couple more nice tight wraps right there on him. We'll go ahead and we'll add our other one to the other side. Lay him right up on top. Give him a few nice tight wraps there. And then we will repeat the process. We'll go right behind him. Pulling him out there. And then we will go ahead and get these tied down here. Let's give him a couple more here. There we go. And then we got all that locked in. I'm going to go up through here and get this grizzly stem. Now the next thing that we're going to be adding is some hackle feather. And this is a brown hackle right here that we got. You can go with a black if you'd like to. And we're just going to strip some of this off right here, exposing that stem. There we go. Just like so. And then we're going to lay him right up back here, right where we ended with the thread on these grizzly feathers right here. And we're just going to tie him in. Some nice tight wraps. Getting that stem all locked in on this hackle. And then we're just going to start wrapping it. We're going to go right down to where the grizzly feather starts splitting. Work our way right back up. There we go. And then we're going to give it some nice tight wraps. All the way down and right back up. And then we're going to run our thread all the way back up to right behind the jig head here. And we will cut off this excess of this hackle here. There we go. Now the next thing that we're going to be adding in this tie right here, if you get a stray hackle, you can just pick that out there. Now the next thing that we're going to be adding in this tie is some rubber. And when I'm at my tackle store and I see that they've got some of the skirt rubber for like spinnerbaits and stuff, I get these for like $1 a piece. They come with that little rubber part right here for hooking into your spinnerbait. I'll leave this on there. That way I've already used a lot off this one right here. That way, as I measure it out what I need, I can cut it and it will hold the rest of it in place where it won't unravel and all come apart. But we'll pretty much be finishing this up right here off this tie with the rest of this rubber right here. Now I'm going to tie this right into the back of the jig head right here. Right in this small area right here is where we're going to be tying that rubber on. So I'll kindly measure them out here. And I want it to come down to right where those grizzly feathers V's off. That's where I want this rubber to end at. So I'll give them a good measure here. And then I'll just go ahead and take my scissors. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut this. Now this can be a little finicky to work with. It may try to bump a loose on you, whatever. You may even lose some of it, but that is quite all right. And I'm just going to start pushing this right over top of the shank. I'm just going to take my fingers and work it around. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to keep pushing it around till I get it around. Then I'm just going to pinch it and give him some loose wraps till I get him locked in. I got a couple loose ones right down here. If I can, I'll try to save them. I'll pinch them up there. I lost a few there, but that is quite all right. And I also brought a little bit of that hackle up with me when I was doing this. I'll just go ahead and trim that off there and get rid of it. That's no big deal. This is a fishing jig, and I don't think a smallmouth would care one bit about that. Now what I'm going to do now is give it some nice tight wraps. You don't want to give it such tight wraps that you'll cut through that rubber. And I'm going to build that collar up now. Okay, the next thing I want to do on this jig right here, I've got a little bread fastener. This is what I use when I'm tying these types of little jigs. You may have another way that you see fit to do, but this right here works for me. And all I do is just get all this rubber, bring it back toward the back of the jig, and then I just wrap that bread fastener right around him. Getting it all together and give him a couple of twists. Just like so. All that's doing is holding that rubber back till I get this front part finished on this jig. Then we can go ahead, unravel it, and release it. And it gives me the opportunity to go ahead and add a few more wraps on this collar right here, locking all that in good there. Now the next thing I want to add on this is another grizzly feather, and we're going to spin this on right here. A little small piece like this right here. I've already cleaned it off. You can see the stem there where I've already cleaned it up. And we're going to go ahead and right on this collar right here, we're going to go ahead and add this grizzly. So I'm going to cut it down a little bit. The stem was a little bit too long. I'm going to place it right on that collar, pushing in with my thumb. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tighten it all the way down on this stem right here, locking that stem in. There we go. And then I'm going to go right, I'm going to pull this feather back, and I'm going to go right back up above it with a thread, and then I'm just going to start spinning this around here. This is a killer little pattern for those smallmouth, whether you fish finesse in the lakes, in the river. With this type right here, you don't have to worry about having a trailer on it. Those grizzlies works as your trailer. That looks pretty good right there. Now I'm just going to run some nice tight wraps right down to where the rubber starts, locking all that in, and then coming right back up toward the front, just like so. Now the next thing is just removing this tip end of this Grizzly right here. And I'm not going to take all of it. I'm going to leave some of it. It'll just flare out. I just cut that tip end off right there, as you can see. And then I'm going to just lay this back right here, all this Grizzly. And I'm going to build this collar up now. And then all we have left to do is just to give it a little whip finish here. So we're going to do 5. And 5. That's what I use on all my smallmouth jigs. I do 5 for just 5 individual ones. For crappie, brown, for my smallmouth jigs, I go 5 and 5. We got that in good. We're going to go right up here without cutting any of this Grizzly and get rid of that thread there. All it's left to do is just go ahead and add us some UV resin on it. We're going to go all the way around that collar. That'll give it a nice shiny look. Plus, that collar's not going to go anywhere when we cure off that UV resin. And I also like taking them out in the sun for a second, just to make sure that they're good and dry. I always take them out and hold them right out in the sun for a second. 4 or 5 seconds, it's like stone. And then we're just going to go ahead, take the jig out of the vise. And, well, guys, there you go. The little Ned jig head crawfish creature type little jig. Pair it up with some 8-pound test right there. Whether you fish rivers or lakes, this is a smallmouth killer. Super simple to tie. But if you like the video, guys, hope you give us a thumbs up. That helps our channel out. Subscribe. We're growing each and every day. Also hit that notification bell. That way you'll be notified when we upload here on the channel. And don't forget to check the playlist out on our other jig ties. Follow us over on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. All the links are down in the description. Until next time, stay safe out there on the water. And we'll see you right here in the next one.